Another Eden has another Star Dream encounter available. It's a paid banner where you can pick exactly the character you want up until version 3.8, that is. So all the characters in the game up to Jill Funny. It's David Wowee. How you going? Which characters should you pull? I'll let you know my top 5 support and top 5 damage dealing DPS characters. And then I'll let you know who I'd be personally picking. Big shout out and thanks to Best Boy and MPG Annihilator, by the way, for the valuable insights when preparing this video. First thing you need to know is that with today's Star Dream encounters, if you pick a character and you're getting that character for the first time, they won't be Stellar Awakened, which means you have to pull that character 2 more times or get 2 more All Cosmos star charts, which can kind of suck and take a long time. So if you choose a Stellar Awakened character in this banner, you need to consider if you want to dedicate the patience and time to max them out. If you don't know how Stellar Awakening works, check my guide that I've linked in the description. The good news is there are still a few really good characters in this game that you can get that aren't Stellar Awakened. I would say even some of the best characters in this game, thankfully, aren't Stellar Awakened yet. A lot of them will be mentioned in this video. I just had a drink. So let's look at support characters. The first thing to note with support characters is that in my personal experience, they tend to last longer and get power crept less often than damage dealing characters. I also use my same favorite support characters in more teams and in more boss battles than my favorite damage dealing characters. So choosing a good support character for your SDE can be a very smart long-term investment. So listen up. The first character I would recommend as a support character is Mazrika. If you're missing a good water support who can potentially also work well with other elemental units, consider Mazrika. What's most unique about her is the fact that she can give characters water add-on attacks, but not just normal water add-on attacks, but add-on attacks that have massive damage multipliers. She can also greatly increase the team's power, intelligence, and speed while reducing your enemy's power, intelligence, and speed. One thing you should consider with Mazrika is that she's best at supporting single target units. So she may be more useful against super bosses than mobs, plus she is thick. The next character you may want to consider is Annabelle Extra Style. Annabelle Extra Style is like a hybrid tank, support, and an okay damage dealer all rolled into one. Her benefits change depending if you have more light or shadow units in your team. If you have more light, your team will be getting some sweet buffs. If more shadow, your enemies will get more debuffs and she will serve more as a tank. For the lore addicts, Annabelle ES has some huge lore behind her and is actually a key character in a lot of the game's extra story. There's a whole extra episode dedicated to her. The next character, and I've recommended her so many times, is this character in the middle here, which is Miyunfa Alta with a pinkish purplish hair. Miyunfa Alta is an Earth Staff user. She can transform your damage dealer from an okay damage dealer into a multi-billion damage dealer. She's a Torn Earth Sans setting character that has buffs for Earth teams, but she's also great even for non-Earth teams. In fact, I use her more often than non-Earth teams than with Earth teams. For example, I like to pair her up with Xianhua to help her deal incredible damage, just billions and billions of it. If you're greedy for damage, Miyunfa Alta with Xianhua, do it now. The best part is that you don't need to Stellar Awaken Miyunfa Alta. This next character, I have barely recommended her in the past, but MPG Annihilator has stood by her, and now I'm slowly getting convinced, and I actually use her now even in today's win teams. She's Melody Another Style, this chick in the middle here with the green and red hair. Although an older character by now, Melody Another Style can be a really useful unit for wind-specific teams. She's one of the rare characters who can deploy Wind King stance and deploy another zone multiple times in the battle. Most characters you'll see will only awaken another zone once per battle. This is a very useful support skill for a character like Sesta. Melody AS is a pain setter who restores HP and MP, adds a barrier, massively increases the team's damage, and can reduce the enemy's resistance by 100%. Plus, she's not Stellar Awakened. She's a classic character who's still useful today. I use her today. Finally, we have the same character I've talked about for a long time now, Iffy. Even to this day, she is still my #1 character, even if she still doesn't have Stellar Awakening. Effie is a biting shade stance setter who, through her skill Rosa Liliac, can inflict pain and poison while also weakening your enemy's power, intelligence, speed, and type resistance. Her nocturnal procession skill greatly increases the power, intelligence, and speed of your team while also preventing knockback, which is important against a lot of endgame super bosses. And most importantly, the big selling point about her is that she can instantly revive knocked out characters multiple times in battle if you set it up right. I did a whole guide on her, so check it out. So those are my top 5 support units, but some honorable mentions would be Malpifia, a wind unit who's part of Acadia. She's like a mix support and tank. Check my guide on her for more. Yifanella Stahl, another crazy good wind support. I've done a guide on her, so check it out. And Thililila Extra Style. She's a crystal unit who's mainly a damage dealer, but a few members of the community actually use her as a support character. I don't do it, but people swear by it and say she's great. Plus, she has a free sidekick. Check my guide on Thila ES. Now let's look at the major damage dealers, baby. First up, I'd like to recommend Yakumo, who is right here next to our beloved Iffy. Yakumo, firstly, Rage Boy. He has a great story in Apocrypha, and he's recently gotten another style, but I would recommend Yakumo normal style as a damage dealer. Yakumo another style isn't really designed as a damage, but more of a supportish kind of character for Magic teams. So Yakumo normal style, if you want to deal heaps of damage, choose him. Yakumo has an entire chapter dedicated to him, and for people who hate their jobs or are feeling the pangs of depression, maybe you'll be able to relate to this guy. With the right setup, he can be one of the best damage dealers in the game, especially through his skill Deletion, which drinks up his MP to deal considerable damage. You may also want him for his sidekick Kumos, who synergizes perfectly with his skill set and is also great with any team where you need a constant supply of MP, as Kumos auto regens MP. I use Kumos a lot. You can also upgrade Yakumo to his another style, which I mentioned earlier, who also coincidentally gives the first another style sidekick in the game, Kumos another style. Next we have this undead looking smiley dude in the middle, Kuchinawa. For the people who love a bit of story, Kuchinawa has a key part in the Rise Saga and is part of the Arcadia crew. One simple reason you may want Kuchinawa is that if you want all Arcadia team members. But aside from that, Kuchinawa is a pain and poison setting earth magic user who can set and awaken Torn Earth stance. He's a great support for magic teams while also weakening enemies against magic attacks and earth type attacks. Check out my guide on how we can deal billions and billions of damage using him. Next up we have Wolf Chick right here, the one with the silver hair and the red highlights, Sesta. Sesta is an amazing damage dealer. It can even perform much better than one of my favorite characters, Suzette, against many other endgame super bosses. Under the right conditions, Sesta's basic attack transforms into a skill called Twin Blade Wolf, which I've used to beat several super bosses. But the twist is, Sesta is only good if you have a full win team with her. So if you don't have a full win team, she can be an okay damage dealer. You really want her to be with a full win team. Check my guide on her for more information. Next up, we have this shady looking dude with sunglasses, and that is Ewan. Ewan is a classic fire blunt character who's gotten a lot of glow ups throughout the years. And in fact, he's much better now than Ewan another style, the guy on his right who looks like Aldo with a goatee. So Ewan normal style, if you get his true manifest, he becomes one of the strongest damage dealers in the game today. There are 2 skills that make him deal insane damage, Eruption and Love Impact. That's all you need to know. Use Rendering Alter, Beautiful Alter, or Yifa AS to buff him up and watch him destroy the universe. A lot of people say Ewan's Stellar Awakening is useless, which is good for you if you want to pull him just once, but I personally like him because his Stellar Awakening lets you increase other stats of his that are important, such as his HP, power, and MP. Plus, his Stellar passives can be quite useful, and since he's a classic character, you can actually buy the rest of his All Cosmos Star Charts from No Poor Emporium. Last but not least, as a damage dealer, I would highly recommend my favorite DPS to this day, which is Xianhua. Xianhua is incredible. She's the greatest damage dealer unit in the game at this point in time, in my personal opinion. She's a non-element character, so she can work well against a lot of the game's bosses and is flexible with all kinds of teams. If you watch my main story teams, I mainly used her to beat the entirety of the latest main story updates on Master difficulty. If you pair her up with someone like Mune for Alter, and she will consistently deal incredible damage and obliterate most enemies. And the best thing about Xianhua is that she's so simple to use. Her Horizon skill is great for mob clearing, and Tesseract for beating enemies once they're on 50% HP or below. And that's it. It's Horizon and Tesseract. I wish more characters were this simple. Check out my guide for more information. If you have all these characters or want more variety, some honorable mentions from me will include Fulmina Extra Style and Ilulu Alter. Besides both of them looking really good, they are great water slash units who work really well with each other. And if you've got Mazrika with them or El Seal plus Dunrith Alter, they will be one of the most unstoppable teams out there. And the best bit is they don't need to be Stellar Awakened. They're classic characters, which makes it even better, plus they're easy to use. Another honorable mention is Utpalaka. He's a solid Thunder unit and a member of Arcadia. For those who want all the Rise Saga characters, he was one of the most hyped characters this year, and he kind of lived up to it. I've done a full guide on him, so check him out. Finally, who will I be choosing? If you've enjoyed these recommendations, don't forget to like and subscribe, or donate a thanks, or become a super member to help support this channel and keep it growing. A huge shout out to the existing super members who've been in this channel for months now. Really thank you for your support, and I hope you've been enjoying the extra content I've been giving you. So who will I be choosing? I have all the characters I've mentioned in this guide besides Renri Alter and Mazrika. I'm only one Enforcer Opus away from getting Renri Alter, so this time I'll be choosing Mazrika. One good thing about Mazrika is you don't necessarily need to Stellar Awaken her either. She can be good as it is, but if you're greedy like I am, I'll definitely work towards Stellar Awakening her.